Steam versus the Epic Game Store.
Let's talk about this. Hey everybody, what is going on? Brandon here, and I am finally back after a week-long vacation, followed by this stomach flu with both myself and my kids, and then I had some computer issues, so it's been a interesting week, but I'm back, and I've been racking my brain trying to figure out which video I was going to upload first, which one I was going to finish first, and I decided this one is probably the most relevant right now to finish first, so I'm going to go ahead and just do this one. Now, as some of you know, a few weeks ago I uploaded a video discussing some of the conspiracy theories that when Metro Exodus decided to depart Steam and go to Epic, that was more to address some of the conspiracy theories being brought on by another YouTuber who is just right now in some weird phase where everything is a conspiracy theory and everything's about SJWs and there's always a reasoning that's manipulative behind everything. So that was why I did that video. This video is more or less to just address everything surrounding just Steam versus Epic, what it means for the gaming community, what it means for us as gamers, PC gamers, what it means for Steam, what it means for Epic, or what it could potentially mean for both those things. So I decided to just go ahead and do this video because there's a lot of misinformation going around about a lot of this stuff. There's a ton of misinformation being thrown around, a lot of just false facts being thrown at me even, and I'm like, that's not right. You're wrong there. So I just decided to do this and kind of hopefully try to educate some of you. Now I know some of you are not going to get educated because I'm going to be rude here. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not pandering to anybody. Some of you do not understand common sense. You don't have a basic understanding of logic. I'm not trying to be mean, but I've come to terms with that because I've been arguing with people over this for weeks that they're not quite seeming to drill it into their heads. So either they're trolls or they just lack common sense. So if you're one of those people, I'm sorry, you're not very good at business. Don't go into business if you don't understand what I'm talking about in this video. If you do understand this video and you listen to it, thank you, and I appreciate you actually taking the time to try to understand where I'm coming from with this. So, with that being said, let's get started. And I want to go ahead and say, this has nothing to do with me being pro-Steam, anti-Steam, pro-Epic, anti-Epic. No matter what I say in this video, I'm not anti or pro either, really. I'm trying to play devil's advocate and play both sides and try to explain things from both sides to everybody. And everybody seems to take that as me being some kind of corporate shill, and it's really just me understanding the business side of game development because I've been working in this field for a long time. So I understand that side. I also understand the consumer side because I actually love playing video games. There's a lot of developers and a lot of indie devs that kind of fell out and don't play as many games as they used to once they started development, but I do both, so I'm both a consumer and a developer, so I've got to look at both sides of everything and understand both sides, and that's what I try to do on this channel. So this has nothing to do with me being pro either or. I've got a ton of launchers on my desktop. Yes, it's annoying as hell, but I've learned to live with it. It's not, you know, as big of a deal. I wish somebody would develop an awesome third-party launcher similar to the Revive launcher that Steam has or had for Oculus, and maybe we'd actually be able to have all of our games in one launcher. But until that happens, I just use my desktop icons, and it's not that big of a deal. But moving on to the first part of this whole topic, we're going to talk about exclusivity. Now, the reason I want to talk about exclusives first is because there's a lot of misinformation, and this seems to be the biggest argument for everybody that's mad about games leaving Steam and going to Epic, or just not even launching on Steam at all and going to Epic. And this argument is, not only is it very hypocritical, but it is also kind of wrong. Everybody's mad because they don't want exclusives. They don't like the idea of there being exclusives on Epic. They think that people should post on, or they should publish on both. And people need to understand this isn't necessarily an exclusivity deal. People are taking it as companies are being signed and into exclusivity deals by Epic, and that's really not the case. Companies are just choosing to go with Epic over Steam because of what Steam is charging. You have to understand, Steam wants 30% of profits. That's it, 30% of profits. Now, on top of that, if you are using a game, or you're making a game that is running in Unreal Engine 4, you're still going to be paying a 5% royalty to Epic Games for using their engine. So this isn't necessarily so much of an exclusivity thing as it is, why pay 30% more to have a game on Steam and to have it on Epic when they're both running on Windows machines? Another thing with this whole argument is, it's very hypocritical. And I know you're probably wondering, well, how is this hypocritical? Well, how many thousands of games are only on Steam? And that's a 100% honest question. You need to ask yourselves that. I had somebody earlier tell me today, when I had mentioned that Steam had a monopoly on the market for a long time, and this was good because this was competition. This gave Steam competition. This will make Steam better. This was better for the consumers. This is better for the developers. We need competition in this market because it's pretty much been non-existent. And the argument I had was, well, Steam doesn't have a monopoly. There's been thousands of other launchers that have released and failed over the last, decade, and none of them stuck around. There's a few of them that are still around, and games that are developed in-house are always exclusives, but games that aren't developed in-house aren't exclusives. Well, that's wrong. There are, yes, like people have said, there have been other launchers that don't do nearly as good. Origins, let's see, even Tiny Build, just looking at Discord, Battle.net, Technic, Bethesda, Tencent. I mean, this is just looking off the top of my head, like launchers I can find. And there are games that are third-party that are not available on any other launcher besides Steam. And was that an exclusivity deal? No, it wasn't an exclusivity deal. That was just the best way that the developers then thought they could get their game into players' hands for the right price. Now that Epic is on the field and playing, some developers are finding that, well, why would I pay the additional 30% to have my game go on Steam when it's already on Epic, and they're both free launchers on Windows? And to kind of paint a picture to get people to understand that, I'm going to go ahead and I did the math for you. If they released Metro Exodus, because since that's the game everybody's talking about that did this, if they released Metro Exodus on Steam and Epic at the same time, and they sold 1 million copies on each of those platforms, $18 million of that is going to Steam. Only $7.2 million is going to go to Epic. They are both free launchers on the Windows platform. Now, consumers generally, I've learned, do not care how they get their products. And I think that is a big, big problem. They don't care how they get it, they just want it, and they want it now, and they want it how they want it. And that's not a good that's not a good mentality to have. If you've got that mentality, you're not going to be good at business. You're not going to be good at selling things. You're not going to be good at really publishing things. I hope if you are like that, and that is your mentality, I hope that you somehow find a way to change, because this is a corporate world, and I know it sucks. Everybody wants things easy, but that's not how things work. That's not how the real world works. One of the best examples I can think of to put a consumer in the position of a developer is to say you go to a coffee shop and you want a special kind of coffee. Well, there's two cashiers. You can go to one cashier. It's in the same store. You can go to one cashier. You can get the coffee. Tastes great. It's the same exact coffee, and you can get it for $7. Well, or you can go over to the other cashier and you're going to get the same cup of coffee, but it's going to have a smiley face painted on the top with the foam. It's going to be in a styrofoam cup, and it's going to come with a straw. But you just want coffee. You just want your coffee. You don't care if it has a smiley face in the foam. You don't need a straw with it. You have your own thermos or something. You don't care about what kind of cup it is. You're just a person that wants to buy a cup of coffee. But that cup of coffee with the smiley face and stuff costs $12. Are you really going to pay the $12 to get a smiley face when you just want a cup of coffee? More than likely, no. People generally do not pay an additional 30% because they just want some fancy stuff. Some people do, and that brings me to my next topic, the features that are in Steam. The features that are in Steam are generally great. They've even made a chart showing how some features are in Steam that aren't in Epic, and it's pretty elaborate, except for the fact there's a few flaws, which I'll point out here in a minute. And yeah, there are some people that want those features. There are consumers that really, really want those features, and I understand that. I do. I understand wanting the user reviews, which Epic has said that they are trying to implement or getting ready to implement. I did hear that they were saying they were going to be opt-in by the developers. I do not like that. I'm going to go ahead and say that now. I do not think that developers should be able to opt in or out of user reviews. I think that's something I don't like about Epic. I think that should not be a thing. I do think it needs to be a better system than Steam's, but I don't think it needs to be an opt-in feature. I don't like Steam's user review systems, and I don't pay attention to them. I do not read Steam user reviews. Because for the most part, I've watched so many games just crash and burn because of review bombing over the dumbest crap. I'm pretty much done with Steam user reviews. But I do think that they need to be implemented on Epic in a certain way. I'm not sure the way, though, and I don't want Epic to rush it. I do kind of want them to take their time. As for some of the other features, I'll discuss those here in a little bit. The point of that portion of the argument, though, is if you are just like a person like me, if I want a game, I just want the game. I don't need any fancy bells and whistles. I don't need to know how many of my friends are playing the game. I don't need Steam trading cards for the game. I don't need Steam user reviews because I don't read them. I use other sources for my reviews if I even bother doing listening to reviews, because now I generally do reviews myself. I don't need all that. So for me, if I can save a few dollars and get the game through Epic, that's great to me. That works out well for me. For the other people that want those features, I can understand the frustration. But it comes down to being cost efficient, which I've talked about that before. I've talked about it several times, and I've been right every time I've talked about it. If you go through, look through all my videos, and I've talked about cost-efficient development with Islands of Nine shutting down, back before Radical Heights even shut down, I talked about it there, saying this was a bad idea, it was going to crash and burn. It took like 2 weeks, crashed and burned. I talked about it with Paladins when they weren't focusing on bugs at all, and they were focusing on cosmetics and crap, and the game started tanking really hard. I mean, I've talked about it several times about cost-efficient development. Every time I've been right on the head. So I'm not thinking I'm wrong here. People need to understand developers need to be cost-efficient. If they don't need to pay $18 million to publish a game on the same platform, they're not going to do it. Just the same way you wouldn't go into a store and buy the same product for 30% more in the same exact store. Nobody does that. People don't do it, so don't expect businesses to. Consumers have a tendency to not care about how they get their stuff. They don't care what it takes to get their stuff. They just want their stuff, and they want it now, and they want it the way they want it. But I can guarantee that if Metro Exodus did release on Steam today, but cost 30% more than it does on the Epic Store, nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to choose to buy it there versus the Epic Game Store, because let's face facts here, people want stuff cheaper. And it's the same way with businesses. People want things cheaper. But moving on to the features, talking about the features that Steam has that Epic doesn't. Yes, Steam has a lot of features that Epic does not have right now. But guys, it took Steam 10 years to put all of those features into Steam. User reviews were not in there for 10 years. People saying, well, Steam has it, Epic needs to have it. It took Steam 10 years. Their user review system is broken as hell. A lot of people don't like it. There's a reason Epic is taking their time with it. Now, like I said, I don't think it doesn't need to be an opt-in feature. It needs to be automatic. It needs to be mandatory. But they need to have a better system than Steam, that's for sure, because I cannot stand the Steam one, and a lot of people can't stand it. But as for other different features, like the Steam trading cards, that's something that's really not a big deal. I mean, I don't really know anybody that takes the Steam trading card system very seriously, so I'm not really sure why that's a ball drop. The big one that I've had somebody talk to me about was the VAC. People being able to get VAC banned for cheating, kind of deter cheaters. They're saying, well, Epic doesn't have that. Guys, Steam's VAC doesn't really work as well as people seem to think. Most game companies that publish on Steam use their own anti-cheat. They either use easy anti-cheat. I think Ring of Elysium uses 10 Protect. A lot of these companies use their own anti-cheat systems. Then when a cheat is detected, that is reported to Steam, and then somebody will receive a VAC ban. The same thing, if not worse, happens to somebody cheating using an Epic account. Do you guys not remember that people got literally sued for using cheats on Fortnite? And not only were they banned, but they were sued and took to court to deter cheating. I think that's a lot more serious than just banning a free account. If you have to worry about getting legal action taken against you for cheating, it's going to deter somebody a lot more than, oh man, I'm going to have to make a new free Steam account. That sucks. But so yes, Epic doesn't have VAC, but all these companies publishing generally use their own anti-cheats anyway, and they do still get account bans. So saying that because they don't have VAC is a reason not to use them, that just doesn't really make a lot of sense when a lot of companies don't bother using the VAC built into Steam when they publish their games anyway. It doesn't really make sense. If you're going to be using your own system, why would you use Steam's? Now, I know one big argument against Epic, and I agree 100% with this, it's not fair, is the regional pricing. I've looked a lot into this over the last couple weeks, trying to figure out, what Epic could do for this, and I think really, I don't know, because I've read a lot of interviews with developers that have said that the regional pricing is a pain to deal with because it's almost forced on them through Steam, and Steam adjusts the prices unless they manually go through and try to figure out what price would best work all manually themselves. The automated system just kind of does it for them, and a lot of times they lose out on a lot of money because people are getting games in other countries for a lot cheaper than what most people are paying retail. And developers lose money on that, and developers are kind of upset by it because they don't really have much of a choice in the matter if they want to get their games into those players' hands. So I understand people being upset when Epic doesn't have regional pricing. That one I get. I really have I don't have any leg for Epic to stand on to defend them for not having any form of regional pricing, because I do think it is something that needs to be implemented very soon, because it does suck for people in other countries. Now, right now, I live in North America. Most of my viewers live in North America and Europe, so we don't really have to worry about the regional pricing thing as much. So it's not really something I can comment on too much. I would actually really like to talk to somebody that actually deals a lot with regional pricing and get an insider perspective on that. That would be really cool. I'd love to do that. It is something I think Epic needs to figure out because it is a huge ball drop as far as getting games into hands of everybody. I think they need to implement that. If not, I do think there needs to be something done. Maybe have these publishers publish on Steam in other countries, but not in North America. If they're still wanting to save that money in North America, I think that would probably be the best way to go, but I'm not really sure. I've seen some places, we've seen services do that. We've seen the DC service do that with overseas countries with Netflix. So it's possible to do with services, so I could see them being able to do something like that with the video game market. I could see it being possible, but that seems to be the biggest issue that I have right now with Epic Game Store, is them not having regional pricing and them not having any form of user review system, even though I do hope that they have something figured out in the near future with that. As for people saying they're not going to buy a game because it's not going to be published on Steam, well, if you live in North America or Europe, if you're saying this, you're not going to buy a game because it's published on Epic and not Steam, you don't support exclusivity. As I've stated in the beginning of the video, that makes you a hypocrite because a lot of games are exclusive to Steam. They're not on any other launcher, and it's not a signed exclusivity deal. They're just not on other launchers because it's not cost efficient to have them on other launchers. It costs money to publish these games. Developers have to figure out which ones are the best ones to publish on for their profit, for their money, and people need to understand that. They need to put themselves in the perspective of a developer, of a publisher, and understand that if it was on them and they were going to be spending 30% more for the same product, they probably wouldn't do it. As for people saying they're not going to buy it because they don't want to bother downloading a free launcher, I'm sorry, but I don't believe you. You're either a liar, you're a hypocrite, or you're just BS and you never had any intention on buying the game in the first place anyway. I do not think a free launcher is going to stop anybody from buying a game that they actually really want. I don't. Because I'm a realist. If I want a product and it's only available in Walmart, but I really want to buy it at Target, but it's only at Walmart, guess what? I'm going to go to Walmart and buy it because I'm a normal person. That's not going to stop me. The difference in stores is not going to stop me from getting something I really want. And that would involve me driving to a different store. This is something you do from in your house, costs you no money, no gas money whatsoever. You just download it and go. So please do not come at me with the, well, I'm boycotting these games if they only publish on Epic. Okay, you do that, but you sound kind of stupid if you do that. You clearly either don't really want the game, never had intention in purchasing the game, or you're just really weird. So, sorry, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Now, if you're somebody that lives outside of the US or Europe, and it's based on regional pricing, and that's why you're not buying it, you are the only people that I think, okay, that makes sense to me. I understand that. I understand your frustration with that, and I support you there. But if you live in North America or Europe and you're just boycotting it because you want to whine, then you're just boycotting it to whine and you're coming off like a child. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not pandering to anybody, I'm not sugarcoating it. I really don't care who I offend when I say stuff like this, because this is my channel, and I do these things because I try to educate people, because I've been working in this industry for a while. People think I'm a kid. I'm 31 years old. I've been doing this for a long time. So I understand business, I understand video games, I understand development. This is a smart business move, and this kind of competition is good for everyone. History has showed us that competition forces businesses to thrive. This will help Steam. I know people don't think that, but this kind of competition will, in the end, help Steam get better. They will start looking to try to find a way to get developers back, and by doing that, we will get better products. So everybody needs to calm down and stop hating on everything. There is no conspiracy theory. This is just business. This is how business works, and this is actually a great time for business like this to finally happen, because PC gaming is actually getting bigger than it has been in a while, because PCs are getting more affordable and consoles are becoming more like PCs, so more people are getting into PC gaming, so this is a good thing. As for the people saying that they're not going to buy it, okay, if you're not going to buy it, fine, don't buy it, but it's probably not going to hurt the developers or publishers. It's really not, because if you really had any intention on buying this game, you're going to buy it regardless if it's on Epic or Steam. And to those of you that think this is just an isolated incident and the storm will pass, I hate to break it to you, but it's not. I can tell you firsthand, it was last week an NDA on a game I've been playtesting for almost the last year that I've been waiting to cover. The NDA was finally lifted last week. I'm currently working on a video for that right now, but I've been playtesting it on Steam for almost the last year, and even last week they told me, hey, we're moving to Epic. Here's a new key for the game. We're moving to the Epic store because of pricing. So, no, it is not an isolated incident. Developers do not like to pay that much more to publish on the same platform. Like I said, it's like going to the store, having two things that are exactly the same. One's in a fancier package and costs 30% more, but the product inside is the same. You're going to go with the cheaper product. It's just human nature. It's normal. It's human nature. It's logic and common sense. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say on this matter. Like I said, I'm not pro Steam or pro Epic. I have both. I'm not going to stop using either one. But right now, like if I were to release a game tomorrow, that's not going to happen. But hypothetically, if I were going to release a game tomorrow and I had to say, how am I going to get this into people's hands? I would publish on Epic. Not because I have anything against Steam, not because I have anything against the consumers, but because it's cheaper for me. It saves me money. If I'm the one making the product and I want to get it into consumers' hands, and that's going to save me money that I can then turn around and put back into development, I'm going to go the cheaper route. So I just wanted to make this video to kind of explain a little bit of this. Hopefully you guys understand it. If you don't, too bad. I've already explained all this crap multiple times in multiple threads over the internet, and I really am done talking about it. I want to move on. I've got a few videos I've got to do. I've just, like I said, had an NDA lift on a game last week while I was on vacation, so I could get some footage of that and actually finally showcase some of this gameplay of an awesome game to you guys. So I'm going to be working on that for the next couple days. But as for this video, I know it was a long one, but some people need like an educational pamphlet to kind of understand basic logic and numbers. So that's why I decided to do this. But thank you guys for watching. If you did stick around to the end of this video, which some of you might not have, stay tuned because I'm giving out a key for the game Spellbreak. In the next video, I'm going to be doing a key giveaway. So if you stuck around to the end of this, congratulations. Stay tuned for the next video for a Spellbreak key giveaway if you want a chance to play the new magic-based, class-based Battle Royale Spellbreak. Stay tuned, and I will see you all next time.